the keys in the West, and I certainly see this in the States, maybe more than anywhere else in the world, is embracing the fact that science does not have all the answers. You know, science is good, and I believe in science, I believe in the scientific method, but science is designed to be constantly updated with new information as it comes about. And that's where science has gotten stuck. And I have spoken at scientific organizations where that message wasn't received very well. I'm a trained geologist, so I can talk about this. Science is designed to be constantly updated, and what's happening right now is that science has been hijacked by politics, by corporations that are using science or some version of an outdated science to convince people or to keep people in the fear of a reality that really no longer exists. The whole idea, we have been immersed in a story about us and ourselves that helps us to feel separate from our bodies, separate from the world, separate from one another. So when the world changes, we're fearful. We feel like we need to go to somebody else for the information. The whole paradigm that is shifting now, I'm going to give you an example. Somebody asked me, Greg, if this is true, if the science is changing, why isn't it being taught in the classrooms? Why isn't it being taught in the textbooks, in the medical schools? And I've asked my colleagues in the universities the same question. So I'm just going to share with you one conversation I had with a friend of mine who is involved with teaching evolution at a big university in California. Darwin's idea of evolution. Even though the fossil record no longer supports Darwin's idea when it comes to us. Evolution is a fact, but when it comes to humans, the theory breaks down. Something happened to us. We appeared on this earth 200,000 years ago, and if you take a fossil of us then and you compare it to us now, we haven't changed in 200,000 years. That's not Darwin's idea of evolution. So if we really want to answer the question, who are we? What are our ultimate capabilities? We need to go back 200,000 years ago and say, what happened? You know, how did we really get here? So I asked my friend who teaches in the university, I said, why won't you share the new science? He said, Greg, if I shared that new science, it would invalidate my teaching career of 40 years. I said, no. I said, it wouldn't invalidate. I said, think about this. It would demonstrate to your students how powerful science is, because you would share with them what you knew 40 years ago and now share with them the new discoveries now. And he said, well, if I share the new discoveries, think how expensive it would be to change the textbooks. I said, that's no problem, because they're becoming obsolete. It's all digital. You change it one place on the computer, everybody has the change. And then he said, it's a habit. He said, for 40 years, I've been teaching this. What about my notes? So it's ego, habit, power, money. And that's just one example. Those who believe in those stories, in an old idea of who we are, based in separation. You and I are steeped in a story of separation, competition, and conflict. The world that is breaking down reflects those beliefs. Our society, our nations are trying to solve the problems. The economy, the global economy, is buckling and collapsing because it's unsustainable. That's where it's showing up really fast. The way we solve problems between nations, the Middle East, China, Russia, all of this stuff, it's breaking down because we're trying to do it through these old ideas. The way we heal our bodies are faced with conditions that we didn't have 30, 40, 50 years ago. And I want to tell you, there are places in the world that I go to where Alzheimer's does not exist, where cancers do not exist. And these people are in their 80s, 90s, 100s, 110s, and 120-year-old people. So it's not about age. It's about the way we live. It's about our lifestyle. It's about our belief systems. New discoveries have overturned all of that, and they're telling us that nature is based in a model of cooperation, not competition. So here's what that means. It's a true life story. Martha and I live in northern New Mexico. We have a friend of ours who we've known for a long time. He was a builder of beautiful, green, sustainable homes for over 30 years, until the year 2008, when the economy collapsed. He lost everything. And when things like that happen, we typically try to recreate what we've known in the past. So he tried to find places to build new, green, sustainable homes, and nobody wanted them in 2008. It was a housing crisis. When he tells the story, he says he woke up from a sound sleep in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And as he woke up, he was whispering a question to himself. So his subconscious, or a higher intervention, was working with him. And the question he asked is this. He didn't say, how can I make things better for myself? He said, what do people need? What does my community need right now? What does my family need? That is the pivotal question. Because in the old world of separation, competition, and conflict, you and I have always asked a question before we make a decision. What can I get from this choice? What can I get from this relationship? What can I get from this decision? That makes perfect sense in a world based in separation. But we don't live in that world. So the new question now becomes, what can I give? What can I share? What can I offer? How can I contribute to my family, my community? What do people need? That simple question changes everything, because it goes from thinking about only ourselves to embrace the deepest truths of our connectedness. So my friend did this. Next morning he woke up and he began to design, prototype, and build an innovative system of raised bed, self-watering, self-heating, covered greenhouses. He could build them as small as 12 inches square to go on a high-rise in New York where people have no land, or he could build them as big as 8 feet by 4 feet and string them together in a series out west where people have a lot of land. And he said people need to care for themselves. He began teaching people how to grow their own food. What happened from this? He never had to look back. He is now more successful helping people to do this. In the worst economic downturn in 70 years, he is thriving. He's healthier because he loves what he's doing. He gets up every morning. He's going to go help people. He likes to meet his friends and his neighbors. He feels good about what he's doing. His stress levels are down. And now he's had to hire more people than he ever hired building homes. And all he did was he changed the question. And that question is at the crux of where we are today. As the systems built in separation collapse, if we try to recreate those old systems, that's where the struggle comes from. If we allow them to collapse and replace them with something new, beautiful, and sustainable, that is where we thrive. And this is the generation that's making that choice. Buckminster Fuller, before he died, I have so much respect for him. He's such a hero for me. He made a statement that I think sums this up beautifully. He said, "You'll never change things by fighting what you don't like." He says, if you want to bring about change, find a new way to do something that makes the old way obsolete. And everyone will embrace that new way. You don't have to fight the old. People just stop going there. And that's what we're doing today. We're building a new world based on sustainability and connection. And you're hearing the spiritual principles and the science that validates some of those. Because when we understand that, then we know what works and what doesn't. We know what to do more of, what to do less of, and we've empowered ourselves. Once you're empowered with the understanding of how something works, you no longer need someone to tell you what to do. And that is really, really a powerful place to be in a time of extremes.